Welcome back to season 2 of the Loud and Yas podcast, where we are unapologetically loud, emotionally messy, and professional oversharers. Today, we're talking about something I almost never talk about out loud anymore. This episode was triggered by something very small. It was a Reddit thread where a girl posted that she's 25 and she's been single her whole life and she thinks she's going to end up alone. And you know what bothered me with this is the comments. They were brutal, invalidating, condescending, full of fake positivity and empty phrases. And I sat there scrolling like, wow, we really don't allow people to talk about this. We don't allow people to grieve something they never had, and we don't allow them to say this hurts without immediately shutting them down. So before we even start, I would like to officially ban the following sentences from the comment section. It will happen when you least expect it. Thank you so much, Susan. You have healed me. I am cured. Or you're not missing out on anything. It's better to be single. Okay, then go break up with your partner, Jessica. Since it's so amazing. My absolute favorite, you can't be serious. Why? But you're so... Insert random compliment. Carol, if we knew the why, we wouldn't be here. And the most condescending one, you're only 25, you're only 30, you're only insert whatever age. There's still so much time. Steve, that's not the point. That's not what we're talking about, and you know it. I've actually stopped talking about this topic with most people in my real life about 2 years ago. Not because it stopped existing, but because it was pointless. Nobody gets it, and not in a I'm special way, more of a this is a very invisible experience. Because the moment you say you've never been wanted, chosen, or you've never pursued anyone or liked anyone, never loved romantically, people panic. And when people panic, they try to fix you instead of listening to you. So let me answer the questions you're about to form in your head. Am I happy? Yes, absolutely. Am I working on myself constantly? Am I content and doing well in every other area of my life? Yes. Do I sometimes feel deeply lonely, frustrated, left behind, undesirable, and tired? Also, big yes. Because I am human. And if you're listening to this episode thinking, finally someone said it, that just means you're human too. So this episode is for us, not for advice givers, not for success stories, not for people who met their soulmate at 19 and they now want to coach us all. This is for the people who are tired of being pitied and rushed and minimized. Let me put you in context. I'm 25 years young and I have never had any kind of romantic experience. I'm talking no talking stage, no situationship, no we almost dated, no high school romance, no college story, not even a mutual vibe. I have never held hands with the opposite sex. And before anyone jumps in, it's not by choice. I'm a hopeless romantic. I have literal shelves full of romance books right in front of me right now. I grew up on movies, fictional men, daydreaming, playlists for people that do not exist. I love love. I always have, always will. But I think circumstances shape you. Low self-confidence, growing up too fast, being too in your head, being the observer friend, the listener, the emotional support character in everybody else's story. You grow up watching it happen around you. First crushes, first kisses, first heartbreaks, first relationships, and you wait for your turn. You wait to like someone. You wait for someone to like you. You wait for that moment everyone talks about, and it just doesn't happen. So you start negotiating with yourself. Is it me? Okay, maybe I need to change. Maybe I need to look better. New hair, learn makeup, dress differently. Okay, maybe I'm too closed off. Fine, I'll open up. I'll say yes to every plan. I'll be more social. Life of the party. I'll go out more. I'll become the fun one. All right, maybe my standards are too high. Fine, I'll lower them. I'll give chances. I'll stop expecting depth. I'll stop expecting romance. And you do the work. You grow. You heal. You glow up. You build a life. And still, nothing. High school didn't happen. Fine. It's immature anyway. They never last. College didn't happen. That's fine. It'll come later. Okay, but when exactly is later? Friends, apps, events, new environments. And one day you're sitting in your life objectively doing well and you think, okay, I did exactly what I was told. Where are they? And that's when the scariest thought enters the room. Maybe this is not part of my path. Maybe partnership is not guaranteed. Maybe I am not late. Maybe I am just outside of it. And people hate when you say that because it messes with the fairy tale they were sold. So they rush to correct you. No. Don't think like that. Don't talk like that. It'll happen. It's still early. It'll come. Just wait for it. Just heal. Just glow up. Just love yourself more. As if there's a magical level of self-love that unlocks romantic access. Okay, this long intro that I just did, background story, it's not a rare experience. It's a quiet one, and it's necessary that I put you guys in context. And that's why we hate, as a collective, the phrase, it'll happen when you least expect it. Because we are never expecting it. After years of being invisible in that way, do you really think we're waking up like today is the day somebody falls in love with me? No! We wake up managing expectations, protecting ourselves, building a life that works without that missing puzzle piece. There's something about this experience that people who haven't lived it almost never understand. It's not the big moments. It's not Valentine's Day. It's not weddings. It's not birthdays. It's not even heartbreak. It's the tiny, boring, everyday moments. The moments where nothing dramatic happens, but the absence is very loud. When you're scrolling and you see something funny and you automatically go to share it with somebody and you don't have a default person to send it to. Or when something really, really great happens to you and you reach the top and you're like, okay, shouldn't there be somebody with me to celebrate this? It's seeing something beautiful or sad or annoying and realizing there's just simply not a default person. And nights hit harder than days, Sundays feel longer, and sometimes the way you can be surrounded by people and still feel oddly unmatched. No one talks about how quiet this loneliness is. It's a literal constant background noise. It keeps humming, and you can live a very full life on top of it. You can laugh and work and dream and build things and still carry this low frequency awareness that something everyone talks about never happened to you. And the hardest part, you don't know what you're missing in a real way. You just know there is a door in your life that hasn't opened or might never open, and everyone else just keeps describing the room. Now, let me say something that might surprise you. I don't think there's a blockage. Let's take me, for example. I'm no model, I'm no natural beauty, I'm average at best objectively. I'm okay with that. Beauty is subjective. The people who love me find me very pretty. I like my face, my personality, elite, 10 out of 10, would recommend. So what's wrong? Nothing. And this took me years to accept. Nothing is wrong. Some people meet love at 16, some at 25, some at 40, some after divorce, some never. And we are never told that last one is an option. We grow up with romantic love presented as universal destiny. Not a possibility, a destiny. You study, you work, you struggle, and at the end, someone will choose you. And that narrative is bullshit. Love exists in many forms. Friendship, family, community, purpose, self, creation, faith, curiosity, freedom. Romantic love is just one form, not the prize of being human, and yet it is treated like proof of worth, which brings me to something I need to say very clearly. You are allowed to want romantic love. Wanting to be loved does not mean you are desperate. It does not mean you hate yourself, and it does not mean you are unhealed. Doesn't mean you're weak, doesn't mean your life is empty. It just means you're human. We are social, we are emotional, bond, we attach, we long for things, and being told to be ashamed of that is cruel. At some point, I realized I didn't need advice about how to fix this. I needed ways to carry it without turning against myself. I learned to be careful with who I let into this part of me because not everyone knows how to hold something tender. Some people rush to solve, some people minimize, some turn it into a joke, and you are allowed to protect this. You are allowed to say you don't want advice. You are allowed to say you don't want to talk about it. You are allowed to choose silence as self-respect. I learned to let myself grieve without immediately correcting my feelings and to stop turning sadness into ungratefulness. I just let myself be human without demanding that every emotion becomes a lesson. I learned to pay attention to what I consume as well, because your inner world is a place you live in, and if everything you see is proof that love is everywhere except where you stand, that does something to a person. So protecting your mind is not bitterness, it's care. I learned to build softness into my life on purpose, not as a replacement, as actual nourishment for myself, for my soul. I let myself be held by friendships, by routine, by spaces that feel warm. And Maybe, and most importantly, I learned not to turn this into a punishment. Growth is beautiful. Healing is beautiful, but love is not the reward for becoming perfect. It is just something humans seek because they are human. But wanting something does not mean your life is on hold until it arrives. Two things can exist at once. I want this, and my life is still mine. Nobody talks about the anxiety of never having experienced this. Nobody talks about the fear of not knowing how to be with someone, of being, for example, 25 and feeling 40 emotionally and romantically, or a 12-year-old boy, or wondering if you would even recognize love if it stood in front of you, or if you would know how to receive affection, or trust it, or keep it. There's a whole layer of invisibility here, and I have always believed the sentence, we are born alone and we die alone, not in a depressing way, more in a grounding way, because at the core of your life, there is you, and partners can walk with you, but they are not the road, and they are definitely not the final destination. So my advice, not as a coach, not as an expert, just a girl who has lived in this headspace for a very long time. Don't close the door, but don't stand in the doorway either. Live, build things, want things, create routines, have hobbies, make memories, do things alone, do things with friends, go where you're curious, say yes to what excites you. If staying at home reading a book is what fills your cup, then you do that. If going out every Friday with your friends fills your cup, then do that as well. Not as bait, not as strategy, not as maybe if I do this, I'll meet someone, but just as life. Because the real danger is not being single forever. The real danger is shrinking your life to the size of a missing person. It's waking up 20 years later and looking back at your life and saying, what have I accomplished? Friends and family might see your life as incomplete without a partner. You can be doing so well, growing, laughing, evolving, and still be treated like something is pending, like you're a draft, and after a while you internalize it. You start looking at your own life like a waiting room, but it doesn't have to be that way. The world is not built for single people, that's true. Everything is in pair, everything is romanticized, everything is structured around couples, and still there are freedoms here that are real. You can move without negotiation. You can reinvent yourself as many times as you want without explanation. You can change paths without dragging someone through it. You can build rituals that are just yours, and you can learn to know yourself very, very deeply, and you get to be the main character, not the compromise. And this is not a consolation prize, it's just a different route. Some days you will feel peaceful, some days you will feel angry, some days weddings will hurt, and some days nights will be heavy, and some days you won't care at all, and all of it is allowed. What I want you to take from this episode is this: you are not broken, you are not late, and you're not lying or being dramatic, and certainly you're not ungrateful. You're not wrong for wanting more, and you are not alone in this experience, even when it feels like you are. Your life is not a trailer. Your life is the whole movie, and whether love meets you later, briefly, unexpectedly, beautifully, not in the way you imagined, you are still allowed a full, warm, expansive, interesting, emotionally rich existence. So if tonight you're listening to this in your room or on a walk or with headphones while everyone around you is living their coupled lives, I want you to know you are not the only one living this version of humanhood. You are not invisible here, and you're definitely not shamed for wanting to be loved here. You don't need to become anyone to deserve tenderness from others or from yourself. I'm really, really glad you're here. So feel free to share your experience in the comments. I will read and reply to every single one of them. I have missed talking to you guys. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for letting my voice exist in your space, your headphones, your room, your car, your walk, your night. And if you're listening to this feeling a little less alone than you did at the beginning, then this episode did exactly what it needed to do. As the tarot readers say, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Be gentle with yourself after this. Some conversations linger, and that's okay. You can find me on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok if you want to continue the conversation. And if you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to follow the podcast, like this video, or share it with someone who might need it. Loudly yours, Yasmin. Bye!